Jeff Mayweather, what up?
Hey, how's it going?
It is going well. Are you going to be able to turn that camera on, or you got the service
I
isn't
don't,
great?
I, I don't know how do I turn it on?
Are you on a phone or a laptop?
I'm on the phone.
Yes, you just got to hit your screen, and then the controls should pop up on the screen.
Okay, let me see. Okay, that's talking. Oh, maybe here. I don't know. Can you see me? No,
I don't see you, but
I don't. I don't see me either.
it's all good. We can hear you, man, and that's what I want to do. I want to first say thank you for that fantastic interview you did with Sean Zattel and Fight Hype. You know, you were spot on, and you gave me so much clarity. You know, I watching the fight with Crawford and Sean was very confused with the knockdown, or excuse me, knockout or stoppage, and I definitely expressed frustration, you know, thinking that Kenny did the wrong thing. But after listening to you, not only did you change my mind and put me at ease, but I wanted to schedule you so that, you know, unfortunately have you regurgitate kind of what you told Sean, or let us know how you feel about the situation so that my listeners can hear it firsthand and kind of get a better understanding, because as fight fans, you know, we want blood from the gladiator. We want death, but there's a whole other side to that, and I think you did a great job explaining it. So I thank you for coming on and waking up very early on the West Coast to give us a moment of your time.
Yeah, no problem.
So yeah, if you could just tell us, man, I mean, your thoughts on the stoppage and why you felt the need to express that you felt he did the right thing, and he being Ken.
Okay. Yeah. Well, immediately after the fight was over with, I was in the media. I was in the media room, and everyone was criticizing Kenny. I mean, they was acting like he committed a crime. So, I mean, I felt that it was my job as a trainer myself to at least speak up on his behalf and allow him to be heard and have people understand him. Because, I mean, I'm going to be honest, when I interviewed Kenny, it was more like they knew that they were already going to retire. I mean, he never did mention it, but I can kind of tell. And basically, and it was more about, okay, we're going to secure this payday more than, okay, if we win. I just think that they were ready to quit anyway. But the one thing is this, is that we've seen, you know, fathers that push their kid back in there. The kid's not here anymore. You know, I mean, Levander Johnson, you know, unfortunately. I mean, I sparred with Levander Johnson. He's a great guy, you know, and sometimes, you know, parent being in your corner can be the worst thing or it can be the best thing. And in this case, I mean, Sean got hurt. He got hurt bad, and he got hurt early. And you don't know what's going to take place after that, you know. And so it's best that, you know, I think that Kenny did the right thing by pulling his son out of there and allowed his son to be able to walk away from this sport with no long-term injuries or even death. You know, because we never know. We never know what's going to happen when a guy starts getting hurt, and, you know, and that possibly could have happened. But if he don't, I mean, Sean already has a great career already waiting on him. They're just waiting on him for his career to be over so he can do this full time. And then, you know, and like I said, I mean, I've seen it too many times where, you know, fighters end up dead in the ring because the corner man or somebody thinks that okay, we're behind, but we're gonna create a miracle. I mean, and you know, and that everybody's not a Turo Gotti, you know. So I mean, that's why I took it upon myself to you know, give Kenny some support.
And I thank you, man, because I'm sure, you know, he went through some struggles with that because the internet is brutal and they're immediate. And like you said, look, he didn't even get to the press conference and they were already attacking him. But I believe you made some references to your nephew and Crawford when breaking down the fight. What are those similarities, if any?
Well, the one thing with Crawford is a very intelligent fighter. And the one thing is this, just like my nephew, he used to, you know, basically that's what he would do. With each round, he would be figuring out what that fighter's doing and then take it away from him. But in this fight, I think that Crawford took a long time to figure out what he wanted to do because it's sometimes Sean be in your face so tough that, I mean, sometimes you got to fight Sean's fight if you want to or not. Mm-hmm. And but still, eventually, Terrence did find out and figure out exactly how to get Sean. And basically, what he did is he finally started boxing and created that perfect distance where he started landing his jab. As soon as he started landing his jab clear more than once, fight was over with.
I felt like he was throwing a jab away, though, Jeff, to kind of do his own pull counter, and it didn't work, so he started throwing the right hook, making Porter duck to hit him with that uppercut.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, and that is true as well, but I'm just saying that all that time he was fighting with him, he never did really calm down and get his rhythm where he was touching him with that jab consistent. Once he hit him with that jab 3 or 4 times in a row, then the left hand came home. The left hand came behind it, you know. But before then, he was just fighting. He was struggling. He made the fight extremely tough. You know, I didn't see because I wasn't in the corner. But you know, a lot of people that watched it on TV kept saying that his corner finally told him the same thing, that, you know, start boxing, stop, you know, going to war with him. You know, so I don't know because I didn't hear that, but that's what I saw for myself, is that at some point, you know, Bud figured out the situation of Sean just trying to maul him, just trying to, you know, walk over him. And basically when he found that right range, I mean, the fight was over.
Now, I also heard you say that you slightly have Crawford ahead, but what was really alarming, or not alarming, but I guess the shock value in the interview was that you said even with a tune-up, even with a few tune-ups, he still may not be able to beat Terrence Crawford, and obviously you meant Spence not be able to beat Crawford.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Spence is one of my favorite fighters. And Crawford is one of my favorite fighters. And of course, and whoever wins, wins. And I mean, I don't care about who wins or who loses, but me just, you know, taking my time to assess what I see. I mean, I see right now, I mean, and it's sad that so many bad things are happening, Terrell. So, I mean, the fighter that we once saw a long time ago, probably never see again. And with that being said, no, he just like when Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury this last fight, he didn't take no tune-up. And I kept saying that if he takes a tune-up, all that new stuff that he's working on, and then putting on all that weight, make sure that shit works for you. Don't just do it and then say, okay, let's fight. Because, I mean, first of all, you need to get a win and feel secure about yourself again. Sorry about that. And basically, and that's kind of the same thing that Earl Spence. I mean, Earl hasn't fought in a year and a half. You know, I mean, he can't step in the ring with Crawford when Crawford just came off his biggest win like that. And, you know, and basically Crawford is funny because I don't know if he's doing gamesmanship or whatever, but basically he's kind of like, now I chased you long enough. I don't even care about fighting you. You know, that's kind of like what he said in the press conference. So, I mean, that fight may happen. It may never happen.
Is that the new Mayweather-Pacquiao?
Pretty much. I mean, it could be because, I mean, it's a fight where, you know, I mean, the difference between Pacquiao and Floyd is this, that Floyd and Pacquiao both had household names.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that really made it that much bigger. You know, but I mean, one thing with Crawford and Spence, I told them both. One time I had seen them both at a fight, and I just told them, I said, I went to both of them and I said that you guys need to open your mouth a little bit more, you know, about, you know, what y'all want to do. And, you know, maybe they took it in, but didn't really do it because, I mean, with the talent that Crawford has and the talent that Spence has, they both should be household names as well. I mean, they should have some endorsements that, you know, where they'll have a different demographic of people watching them and being able to see them just more than just being a boxer, you know. And right now, I mean, even though that's probably one of the biggest fights that that's out there that can happen, I mean, it still is not going to get nothing but boxing fans.
Jeff, I gotta ask, man, did you have to fight a lot? I mean, Roger and Floyd Sr., like, was it like, or were you guys all friends? Or, you know, how that, because I fought with my brother, man. Like, I literally hate other sports because he was the big brother, took over the TV, and I went to war with him. So I don't like no other sport but boxing. So, I mean, how was it for you?
Well, me growing up, of course, I never fought Floyd because Floyd was 10 years older than me.
No. I mean, oh yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No. But me and Roger, I mean, we had our share of fights.
Oh.
We had our share of fights, and I think the last time I fought with Roger was, you know, back in, you know, I mean, I'm from a different era, way back there. So they didn't have plastic bottles back then. They had glass bottles. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, baby bottles were made of glass. And so me and Roger started fighting, and then he pushed me, and he pushed me on his table, and we were fighting. And next thing I know, the bottle broke, and it was the glass was in my arm. I mean, a part of the baby bottle was in my arm, and I mean, blood was just gushing everywhere. And I think that was the last time we fought. Other than that, I mean, I was Roger's shadow. I mean, wherever Roger went, I was with him. You know, I mean, he created a whole lot of havoc, did a whole lot of mischievous things, and I became a part of it. But, you know, and I was only a part of it because I enjoyed being with my brother so much. You know, and I followed him. It's one of these stories where they say that a person can't, you know, kind of make a choice for you. But realistically, in my life, when I look back at it, the reason why I'm here exactly where I am in today is solely because of Roger. I mean, I followed him. Once I graduated from college, he was the very first person to call me once I got off the stage. The first thing he said was, you coming to Vegas? And I'm like, yeah. But his intent was for me to turn pro. His intention was for me just to come to Vegas and have a good time and celebrate the fact that I graduated from college. Because when I came here, he already had a manager for me, already had an apartment for me, and already had, a car. So I was set. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna stay here now.
That's amazing. Well, before you get busy, let me give you some of these questions from the people. I got Dual Ingram in Compton. He says, you've been around boxing a long time. Even though you may not have personal dealings with Don King, how were promoters back in the day able to cheat guys out of money, especially versus today?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, times change. Times change, and the one thing you gotta realize is this: if you have a promoter, you come from nothing. Once you come from nothing, you don't feel that someone is cheating you because you don't know your value. And when you don't know your value, I mean, if somebody gave me $10 million and they took $1 million away, I'm still happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the reason why guys could get away with it, because you didn't know, no one knows their self-worth back then. And plus, they didn't know the business of what a promoter is supposed to do and what a promoter's percentage is supposed to be. And I mean, and I think that's still going on. I mean, it's because, I mean, sometimes, like I said, it's just, when you have somebody that come from nothing and all of a sudden has something, they'll be a little lenient, about it. They're not gonna question that promoter if he steals like maybe 200,000 from him, something like that. Especially when they put, $4 or $5 million in their pocket. So, and I think that's the reason why promoters can get away with it. Even today they still can get away with it. But back then, I mean, it was a lot easier.
Yeah, man. I got David Maldonado. He says, "What's up, champ? Would you
how's it going?
Would you consider Canelo as the greatest Latin fighter of all time, or does that crown still belong to Roberto Duran? Rest in peace, your brother Roger. Always spoke highly of Duran. I try to tell people all the time what Duran did is the equivalent of lightweight king Teofimo Lopez moving all the way up to beat a prime Charlo at 160. Please tell these casuals about Duran and his greatness."
Oh yeah, Duran. I mean, Duran was amazing. A guy that goes from 135 pounds, I mean, was his best weight class, but I mean, he went all the way up to 160. Was it 68? Wasn't it?
I'm not a historian, but he definitely say he moved up to 160.
Yeah, he definitely went to 160, and I mean that's amazing. And I mean and basically and he fought everybody. I mean, everybody, and like today, a lot of times these guys it's taking too long for these fights to happen. But I mean, I also understand that part of it because the longer you wait, the more enticing it is for the fans. But sometimes it can be, you're juggling. It's almost like juggling something in the fan's face, and eventually it may happen and it may not, and it might even backfire on you. But I mean, back then those guys, they all fought each other, and it didn't take that long for it to happen.
So why is it like, I do this show every morning. It's like the Breakfast Club of boxing. So most recently, I've been wanting Crawford, if he can't get the Spence fight, right? Spence said this weekend he's got something big in February, March. It's obviously not Crawford. I feel like Crawford could move up again, Jeff. I won't tell you how high up until you tell me how high you think you can see Saturday night's Crawford go in weight.
I can see Crawford probably going to, I think junior middleweight is fine, but I mean maybe middleweight, but he might be stretching it a little bit. I mean I think that he can definitely go to the next weight class, 154.
Okay. And before I answer again, I'll throw another one. Your brother Floyd obviously was very vocal about your nephew Floyd never fighting Gennady. How did you feel about that matchup? And I'll just come right out and say, yes, I am one of those guys that wanted that fight and believed that Floyd could beat him, just solely off his performance with Canelo, which same body style, same thickness, and obviously has grown up to be as good as he has and gone up more in weight. And then you figure in Gennady's just slower than Canelo, not as athletic as Canelo. I just felt Floyd could always do it. Did you ever think he could beat Gennady? And do you feel Crawford could move up and beat Gennady at 160 today? Now, keep in mind, this is a long question because I got to give you the information. Keep in mind, he fights December 29th versus Ryota Murata in Japan. So he'll be 30. He is 39, and he'll go through another tough war. That guy knocked out Robert Brandt. He's a big puncher.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think that Floyd would have outboxed Triple G easy.
Thank you.
Very easy. Because the one thing is this. I mean, the second fight, Canelo. No, the first fight, I thought Canelo. A lot of people thought Canelo lost. I thought Canelo won. I think he won both fights.
Me too.
I thought that the first fight, I thought he outboxed him. The second fight, I think he went into his Mexican mode and still beat him. And so I mean, if and I mean, I don't see him being no bigger threat than Canelo was to Floyd. So I mean, and plus he's much slower than I mean, he's a bigger puncher, and I don't even necessarily know if he's a bigger puncher. I mean, but the thing is that, I mean, if he's that slow and Canelo's way faster than him and Canelo couldn't hit Floyd, he's not going to hit Floyd either.
That's how I see it. So, but to be clear, you do feel Crawford could beat Gennady?
Yeah, because Crawford's a great boxer. He's got so many different dimensions as far as, being left-handed, being right-handed. He moves good on his feet. But in close, I think his defense needs to be tightened up. So I mean, there's openings there where, just like Sean, I mean, with anyone, because I mean, he was getting hit, and he was getting hit a lot, a whole lot more than he should. But I think that still, I mean, he has so many, attributes that, I think that he would beat Gennady as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we got Alex Lemon in California says, good morning. Let's have some fun. Could Floyd beat Canelo right now?
Why? He wouldn't even Canelo. Floyd is never going to be at 190 pounds or 170 pounds or anything like that. So that's a fight that could never ever happen anyway. Even if we're having fun. I mean, now, no, Floyd shouldn't be able to beat Canelo. If Canelo dropped down to 147 or maybe 140, yeah, Floyd probably still beat his ass.
All right. Let me see. We got Big Casual. What's up, Mr. Jeff Mayweather? This version of Triple G versus Prime. Oh, look, another guy with my train of thought. You just answered that. He says versus Prime Bud, who you got winning. So you answered that. We'll keep it moving. We got Coach Myers in Connecticut. It says, you are very humble as a Mayweather. I see you all the time training young fighters. What keeps you motivated to keep going to the gym and training novice fighters when you honestly don't have to?
Well, I mean, to me, I'll train anyone, and my thing is this, is that I love the challenging of myself being a part of someone's journey and seeing how far, a kid that comes to me that, probably is not a boxer, don't have a boxing background or anything, but loves the sport. I want to push him and push myself to see how far we can go. And, and wherever it ends. But, it's something that me and that kid will have a relationship forever about, our connection and the things we did together, as a team.
All right. We got Scott, the Christian fight fan. What's up, Coach Mayweather? Thank you for blessing the Boxing Voice podcast Thank you for blessing the best boxing podcast in the world, TBV. What similarities, if there are any, you see in Bud that are similar to Floyd? I think you answered that, but we won't mind hearing it again. We got a big Terrence Bud Crawford demographic here. They love him in this channel.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. I think, like I said earlier, the one thing with Crawford is Crawford does make adjustments, throughout the fight. If one thing is not working, he's versatile enough to go ahead and do something different and attack you different and also make you even fight different. So, I think that's the closest attribute that I think that Crawford has, that's similar to Floyd. I just kind of wish that his defense was a little better. That's the only thing that I think that Crawford lacks and I don't know if he don't really work on it or it's just the fact that he takes a good shot and probably think that he's never going to get knocked out. I don't know. But I think that if he tightened up his defense, he'd be the second coming of Floyd.
Wow. High praise. We have a few more and you're almost out of here. Young Tigre says, why can't Terrence Bud Crawford draw the casual boxing fan?
Well, the one thing is that, first of all, Terrence is one of those guys. He's quiet. He don't say nothing. He don't. Even at his press conferences, he says about 4 or 5 words and he jumps and he's gone. It's almost like he wasn't even there. And the one thing is that anytime you're in a spotlight, you have to take advantage of being in that spotlight. And the one thing is that you got to speak about your career. You got to speak about what you're going to do to your next challenger or call out somebody that people think that you can't beat. You got to do something to bring the eyes on you. But if all you're going to do is get on the stage and talk about the immediate fight and never say anything about what's going to happen in the future, how you're going to build or who you're going to fight down the line or anything like that. It's basically you hurting yourself.
Great answer. We got my Gene Better says, do you think it is fruitful for the sport of boxing to allow their top athletes to pick their own paths and allow for tune-ups? Or does it hinder the sport because we miss out on big fights?
Well, I think that sometimes tune-ups are necessary. Because sometimes when you're world champion, you might not fight you might fight 4 months later. Your defense may be 4 months later. And so basically in between that, take an easy fight and get the rust off you. And so when you get ready to get back in that ring, you'll be ready. You'll be ready because you've been in fight mode. And I think that's a big part of boxing that probably should happen even more. And like I said, especially when what happened with Tyson Fury and Wilder, and I already said about that was basically Wilder needed a tune-up fight in between that fight to still be the Wilder that we know. Because the one thing is this, you can't go out and put on 30 pounds and never fought at that weight. You can't go out and all those things that he was doing on YouTube made him look great, made him looking like he was going to win. And you don't know if they're going to work. Get in there with a lesser opponent and try those things and see does it work for you. But it didn't. The weight, picking up all that weight that he did, it killed him. He was almost like he was drunk the whole fight. And that was because of, basically, anytime a guy is a big puncher like Wilder, he's throwing away energy. Every time he punches and misses, he's throwing away energy. And when you lift weights, you start lifting weights like he was lifting weights. No, weights drain you. They don't help you. You may feel like you're stronger, but your arms are heavier now. And now these aren't the same arms, and you're not fighting at the same pace that you used to be fighting at. You may even feel a little faster, but the faster you feel, the faster you get drained. And that's what happened to him. So, yes, I think that having tune-up fights in between a title fight, I think that is fine.
So you're not upset at Canelo fighting Makabu. Do you consider it a threat? He has the highest knockout percentage in the current cruiserweight division that are champions.
Well, the one thing is this. Size ain't never won no fight. And the other thing is this. At cruiserweight, Canelo ain't finna get hit. He's not gonna get hit by this guy. And the reason why he picked this guy, it looks good on paper, but I don't know him. And basically, a lot of times when I don't know someone, that means that I don't know him for a reason. And so, I think that we all know Canelo, and we all know his potential. And, he's already beat guys that are bigger than him. And, and this is no different because this guy, Canelo's going to see everything he's doing. And as long as, and there's no way he can win a decision by Canelo because Canelo's too fast for him. So, if he doesn't knock Canelo out, there's no chance of him winning.
All right, just 3 more. Stonebone Boxing in Colorado says, peace, Jeff. I remember watching Roger's son on 24/7. Is he still currently boxing?
No, he's no longer boxing. He never really cared about boxing. That was just something that he was doing when he was real young. But no, I don't think he ever really wanted to box.
Another dude that we got introduced to on 24/7 via, your family was Cash Flow, and now he's signed with Top Rank. What do you think of his career? You expect him to be something?
Yeah, I expect him to be world champion one day.
Oh, wow.
He's a great kid, and he still has that same work ethic that he had when he was with Roger. And I think that was the most important thing is that once Roger left him, and now, it's sometimes it hinders, a kid. But, this kid he's dedicated. He works extremely hard. And, basically, and I think just being a part of the Mayweather system, and I think that in itself, helps him because it creates confidence in him that probably, another kid wouldn't have.
We got 40 Thief who says, who is the best pound-for-pound fighter today? Best wishes, Jeff.
I think Canelo. Myself, personally, I think Canelo. I think that he's proven himself over and over and over. And he's in the way that he's beating these guys, nobody else is doing that, Crawford won, but the names are different on Crawford's resume than on Canelo's resume. So, I know the people that Canelo is fighting. The people that Crawford beat, I don't really know them. So, I mean, even though Crawford is a great fighter, and I mean, and is right up in the top echelon with Canelo, but I think I would pick Canelo.
And Jeff, let me just double down, right? We've been having a little debate here. One of our callers seems to believe that the win over Porter for Crawford is a greater win than any of the champions that Canelo beat at 168 to become undisputed. Do you feel that way?
No. No, I don't. I mean, Canelo didn't beat guys at just at. He also beat guys at 75 too. Then he beat guys at 54. He beat guys. He beat guys. You talking about a guy that started at 154 pounds that's going all the way up to cruiserweight, and basically, and I mean, in every performance, I mean, he looked better. He looked better and better with each fight. I mean, he got Billy Joe Saunders on his resume. He got Caleb Plant on his resume. These are guys that people do know of. Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you think of that Plant fight? Because obviously he training in your gym from time to time, being a Las Vegas resident. I know you know him. Did you? Because, man, bro, my audience probably wants to fire me. I was hell-bent on Plant not being stopped. I didn't think an entire fucking career with Coach Larry Wade he would get tired. Did you think he was going to get stopped?
Yes, I did, to be honest. I mean, me and Caleb I'm real cool with Caleb. But I mean, one thing about me is that I'm gonna keep it real. My thing is this. I just thought that, Caleb didn't have enough punching power to really keep Canelo off him. And if he didn't have punching power, how's he gonna back Canelo up off of him or anything? And the thing is that I know that Caleb is slick, but he ain't slick as Floyd. So, basically that's what he needed. And the thing is that, so basically, I mean, you can't win a fight just with a jab alone against a guy that's walking you down trying to take your head off. And I think that he didn't take as much risk. And then the other thing that that kind of messed with me was when you're in the ring and you're asking a guy,
I'm a good fighter, right?
Yeah, but to me, that means that you don't believe. Why would you be talking to a guy that you're fighting on that level? It's almost like you're asking for his approval. And basically, and then the very next round, he knocks you out after you ask that. Because it's almost like you're not doing an audition. This is a real fight. Why would you ask a guy like that?
I mean, you don't think it was sarcasm? You don't think it was like, yeah, I'm pretty good for 21-0, huh? Because, Canelo tried to tell him, yo, it's levels to this. But Plant is looking at himself like, yo, I'm in the 9th round. I'm 21-0. I'm doing pretty good, ain't I? Like, that's how I perceived it. Interpreted, excuse me.
I mean, I didn't. It seemed like to me you're asking Canelo how good you are, like you're auditioning, like you're surprised yourself that you're there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be trying to win. You're not supposed to be you're not doing an audition. You're trying to win. Keep your mouth shut and let's go.
All right, 2 more. This one will be quick. He says, Brandon in Cincinnati says, Chris Lovejoy versus Ness, which is me. Who wins?
Versus who?
Versus me.
Maybe it's a draw, or you might win a split decision.
Last one is from Houston. Brandon Lenz says, who is the best fighter under the age of 25 in boxing? I know who he's seeking for you to say, but I bet you I know who you're gonna say. but I'll let you answer.
Well, I mean, the one thing is this, is that, see, I only pick fighters that I know of that have already excelled to a level where the spotlight is on them. And I'm sure, and you're probably right. I'm probably going to say the same thing that most people say, and that's Shakur.
Yep. He was looking for you to say Benavidez.
No, but I mean, no, I think Shakur.
Exactly. Me too. Me too. He's special, man.
Yeah.
Yo, I hate that it may happen one day. And I know who you're going to pick, but I still want to hear your breakdown. Chris Colbert versus Shakur.
I don't even know who that is.
What? Lil B-Hop? Little B-Hop.
I don't even know Chris Colbert. Who is he?
His nickname is Little B-Hop? Never heard of him?
No.
Not even as Little B-Hop. Holy shit. The kid with the purple hair is like pink hair?
Oh, the guy they said is supposed to be the next Floyd.
But who said that?
I've never seen him fight live. I never seen him on TV at all.
What? Yo,
I've never seen him.
Yo, nah, Jeff, man. Listen, he's got more undefeated fighters on his resume than any dude I know at 130. Like, I don't know why he don't got a title shot. I mean, it's obviously because Tank is in that division or was in that division until he just vacated. And, it's just crowded over there on the PBC side. But, yeah,
right.
All his fights been on TV. He beat he beat Titus Williams undefeated on TV. Austin Dulé undefeated on TV. He beat former world champ, what's the dude from Panama? Is it Panama? The one who was supposed to consolidate his title when Jason Sosa was world champ before. Not Jason Sosa, excuse me. Jezreel Corrales. He beat Jezreel Corrales. Who else did he beat? I ain't got box track open, but yeah, damn, that sucks. You don't know who he is. Okay. All right, so Bob is...
Don't get me wrong. I know who he is now since you mentioned the hair. But I mean,
at least he doing something right.
Of his fights. Yeah, I never seen none of his fights. I watched a little bit of him on YouTube. Yeah, and he looks like he's really good. But I mean, I can't judge him because I haven't seen him fight live or anything like that. So I mean, I would pick the person that I know.
Now, speaking of the person you know in Shakur Stevens, I believe Bob Arum is lying. I've been in this business long enough to feel that he's lying, but he's saying Teofimo versus Shakur could be in 2022. What do you think about Shakur moving up to fight Teofimo Lopez? Can he do it? I'm saying yes, but I'm biased. I'm actually from North New Jersey, where Shakur is from.
No, I think Shakur is one of those special fighters that he's gonna be able to go from weight division, and still win titles.
But can he beat Teofimo Lopez,
the one thing
though?
That, don't get me wrong. I mean, him and Teofimo, that's a lot to bite off. I don't know. That's a fight that as it get closer, then I would make a prediction, but not right now. Right now, I think that he has to take care of his own division first.
Well, that's the thing. His promoter is floating it out there that's what's gonna be next for him. And then Shakur was interviewed this week, and he's like, "Well, you heard Bob. I might be fighting Teo next year." So,
well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, that could have been said because one thing is this: when a promoter loses one of his best fighters, he starts to have to say the right things to make, them fighters feel secure and stand with him. Mm-hmm. Because Teofimo was already talking about leaving Top Rank. So, and then maybe Shakur may be thinking the same way if there's nothing down the line that's going to happen for him. And that's just like what happened with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford said that they chased Spence too long. That fight couldn't be made. That's why I gotta go. I gotta do my own thing now.
Well, Jeff, that is the last question. We thank you for your time, man. You are a very, very Great guy, waking up so early to do an interview. We appreciate your time. And, man, wish you the best. And hope to get you back on, man. It was really fun talking to you.
Okay, definitely.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Mayweather, trainer, uncle, all that greatness. And that was an official interview, man. Very happy to have had that done with Jeff.
For the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.